This is Providence Television International, the game changer. Stand by for the next program.
On the world news, residents protest over continuous rape and murder of doctors in India, and citizens in the Philippines continue to count their losses since the war began a year ago. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us on the World News on Providence Television International. My name is Edna Caesar Garrick. Now the details. A man has been charged for the rape and murder of a resident doctor during a night shift in Indian eastern city of Kolkata, a crime that ignited nationwide protests about the country's specific problem with gender violence. The Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI, alleged the man was out drinking with a friend on the afternoon of August 8 and returned to Al-Jikar Medical College and Hospital, a state-run institution in Kolkata, West Bengal, where he found the female doctor asleep on a mattress. The resident doctor's body was found the following day with multiple injuries and signs of sexual assault in a seminar hall at the hospital. The doctor trainee was resting in a seminar room at the medical college while working a night shift when the attack occurred. Kolkata's then police commissioner Vinit Kumar Goyal said in August, by Indian law, rape victim cannot be named. On Monday, the CBI charged the man, a civic volunteer with Kolkata police, under sections of Indian law related to rape causing the death of a woman and murder. The man was arrested a day after the woman's body was found and remained in police custody. Evidence presented to CBI includes CCTV footage of the man at the hospital at the time of the incident and DNA found on the victim that matches that of the suspect. India has struggled for years to tackle high rates of violence against women, with a high number of rape cases drawing international attention. In weeks after the alleged attack, hundreds of thousands of doctors have joined nationwide protests demanding justice and calling for improvement to women's safety, especially better protection for health workers. Junior doctors in Kolkata went on strike for more than 40 days and have since ceased work again, alleging the government has failed to deliver on their demands, which include enhanced security in hospitals and an investigation into corruption within the health sector. Several junior doctors at the medical college and hospital also began an indefinite hunger strike on Sunday, and dozens of senior doctors at the college have resigned in solidarity with the protesting. Reports say a survey in 2015 by the Indian Medical Association found 75% of doctors in India had faced some form of violence, and also according to India's National Crime Record Bureau, a total of 31,516 rape cases were recorded in 2022, an average of 86 cases per day. It has been a year now of Israel's genocidal war on the Gaza Strip. Israeli aircraft, tanks, and warships have been indiscriminately bombarding the whole strip. All aspects of life have been tremendously impacted. Tens of thousands of civilians' buildings have been destroyed, including houses, schools, universities, mosques, churches, hospitals, bakeries, and UN shelters. Brutal Israeli attack along with illegal inhumane blockade have spread no Palestinian. The official death toll stand at nearly 42,000 with about 100,000 injured and 10,000 missing. The majority of the casualties are women and children. In October 2023, Israeli fighter jets attacked IUG, destroying several buildings. Then in November, Israeli ground troops with bulldozers and tanks invaded western Gaza City, razing more buildings and setting others on fire. Since the start of the war, Israel has relentlessly targeted Gaza's infrastructure, including telecommunication, which has made it impossible for instructors to teach online. It is not the first time Gaza's universities have been targeted by the Israeli army. Before the present war, Israel launched 4 other aggressive assaults on the Gaza Strip in 2008 and 2009, 2012, 2014, and 2021. In each of these wars, Gaza's university was severely damaged and prevented from functioning to their full potential. Even though Israel's attack on Gaza continues, emergency measures have been taken. The Palestinian Ministry of Education and several Palestinian academic institutions have calculated petitions against Israel's destruction of Gaza's university, appealing to international organizations and academic institutions to intervene swiftly and take effective measures to ensure Palestinian students' right to education. The Palestinian Ministry of Education and several local and international universities have adopted the initiative. Unfortunately, a few thousand students from Gaza's university, including IUG, have already started online learning. Voters in Mozambique are set to head to the polls in an election that is almost certain to see the governing party Frelimo maintain its half-century grip on power, despite a stiff challenge from a charismatic newcomer. Close to 17 million voters in the Southern African nation of 31 million people are registered to vote on Wednesday for the next president, along with 250 members of parliament and provincial assembly. President Filipe Nyusi from the Frelimo party is stepping down after 2 terms, and the party's candidate Daniel Chapo is expected to replace him. Frelimo has governed Mozambique since independence from Portugal in 1975. Political analysts say independence candidate Vanasio Mondlane has captured the support of disenchanted youth and posed the biggest threat to Frelimo in years. He also poses a challenge to the official opposition party, Renamo, which was formerly a rebel movement waging a decade-long bush war against the government. Whoever wins will face insecurity in the north that has halted multi-billion-dollar gas projects and displaced hundreds of thousands of people. Mozambique has been fighting an ISIL-affiliated group that launched attacks on communities in the northern province of Cabo Delgado since 2017. Approximately 600,000 of the 1.3 million people who fled have since returned home, many to shatter the communities where houses, markets, churches, schools, and health facilities have been destroyed. Moreover, the country of 35 million people is emerging from an economic crisis caused in part by a hidden debt scandal in which former Finance Minister Manuel Chang was jailed earlier this year for taking payoffs to arrange secret loan guarantees for government-controlled fishing company. Leaders have pledged to tackle the financial issues in their campaign messages. The IMF said in July that Mozambique needed to manage its budgets better to create space for social spending given high debt levels. If you are just joining us, this is the World News on Providence Television International. The Justice Department announced charges on Tuesday against an Afghan national who was allegedly plotting a terrorist attack in support of ISIL on Election Day in the United States. The FBI arrested 27-year-old Nasra Ahmed Tawhidi in Oklahoma on Monday after he purchased rifles and ammunition from an undercover law enforcement officer. He is facing several charges, including conspiracy and attempted to provide material support to ISIL. Partnering with an unnamed juvenile, Tawhidi planned to liquidate his assets, repatriate his family to Afghanistan, purchase assault rifles, and stage a violence attack in the U.S. The juvenile also been arrested, according to court documents. The indictment comes as the Justice Department has publicly and repeatedly said its focus is on protecting the November presidential election from foreign threat. Tawhidi's alleged plot, which prosecutors say was aimed at targeting large gathering of people, was foiled less than a month before voters head to the poll. Attorney General Mary Garland and FBI Director Christopher Wade lauded federal law enforcement for disrupting the plot. Garland said the Justice Department will continue to identify, investigate, and prosecute the individuals who seek to terrorize the American people. According to prosecutor Tuehide entered the United States in September 2021 and is currently on parole status pending the adjudication of his migration proceedings. He lives in Oklahoma City with his wife and child. Away from the foreign scene now, back home, women in Nigeria and in diaspora have been urged to actively participate in the campaign against gender violence and discrimination in order to ensure a happier, more fulfilled life. The call was made by Italian-based women rights activist Mrs. Stella Okungbowa-Spidali during an online interview with news crew of Providence Television International. Mrs. Spidali decried the practice of female genital mutilation still being carried out in some communities in Nigeria, stressing that it is a violation of women's rights and gender-related issues to maintain control over the body and sexuality of women. She called on women to be bold enough to report any dehumanizing act against them, noting that the era of silence can no longer be condoned as it has led to the untimely and avoidable death of some unfortunate women. Mrs. Spidali, who also enjoined men to participate in the campaign against gender discrimination and violence, stressing that it is a collective effort to ensure the safety and well-being of women in the society. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) Edo State has condemned alleged attempt by the All Progressive Congress (APC) to obstruct justice and frustrate efforts of the PDP to regain its mandate during the September 21st governorship election in the state. In a press statement signed by the Edo State Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Honorable Chris Nehihari, the PDP Edo State decried a recent attack on the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Edo State by thugs aimed at frustrating the PDP from accessing the BVAS machines and other materials to beef up its petition against the September 21st electoral exercise. The PDP also expressed shock and displeasure that PDP lawyers who went to the INEC office were prevented from accessing the INEC office despite presenting a court order to that effect. The party called on the police authorities to be on the alert as regards the present intimidation of the PDP and its followers, noting it will not renege on its resolve to regain the mandate duly given to the PDP by the majority of Edo people during the September 21st gubernatorial elections. A veteran broadcaster and media executive, Dr. Emmanuel Igarira, has lauded the federal government's instance of Hajj pilgrimage subsidy, stressing that Nigeria is a secular state and government has no moral justification in sponsoring the activities of a particular religious group. Dr. Igarira made the commendation during an exclusive interview session on Providence Television International. He stated that it is the responsibility of religious groups to provide pilgrimage opportunities for adherents who are less privileged financially to undertake the journey of faith. Dr. Igarira further stated that though a pilgrimage is a source value allied to one's religious belief, it should be embarked upon at the financial convenience of religious faithfuls.
A way of constitution is a secular state, it's not a religious state. That, I think, was lost on the previous administrations, and I'm surprised that it was picked up again by the Tinubu administration. What was irksome, as far as Nigerians are concerned, is the fact that quite a huge sum of money was provided by way of subsidy by the Tinubu administration. In fact, some say it was becoming scandalous, running into billions, because everybody knows that a pilgrimage is a personal enterprise. Government should have nothing to do with it.
The federal government has called on Nigerians to seek formal approval before using the national anthem to avoid potential misuse or misinterpretation. In a statement issued today, the director of the National Orientation Agency, Lanre Issa Onilu, emphasized the importance of obtaining permission from the agency before the anthem or its lyrics are used. Mr. Issa Onilu revealed that sensitization campaign will soon be held across the 36 states of the Federation to avoid clarity on the agency's new policies and guidelines. With that, we've come to the end of the world news. But before we go, let's take a look at some top stories that made headlines. We brought you the report which say voters in Mozambique are set to head to the polls in an election that is almost certain to see the governing party Frelimo maintain its half-century grip on power, despite a stiff challenge from a charismatic newcomer. Close to 17 million voters in the Southern African nation of 31 million people are registered to vote on Wednesday for the next presidential, along with 250 members of the parliament and provincial assemblies. It has been a year now of Israel's genocidal war on the Gaza Strip. Israeli aircraft, tanks, and warship have been indiscriminately bombarding the whole strip. All aspects of life have been tremendously impacted. And finally, a man has been charged for the rape and murder of a resident doctor during a night shift in India's sister city of Kolkata, a crime that ignited nationwide protests about the country's pervasive problem with gender violence. The Central Bureau of Investigation alleged the man was out drinking with a friend on the afternoon of August 8 and returned to R.G. Kar Medical College and Hospital, a state-run institute in Kolkata, West Bengal, where he found the female doctor asleep on a mattress. That's our package. Thanks for watching. Edna Sizagarik is my name. Good afternoon.